The lie we've been living, and why your silence is costing you everything. You know what nobody tells you about survival mode? That it was never meant to be permanent. It was supposed to be the thing that got you through the storm, not the address you settled into for the rest of your life. But somewhere along the way, a lot of us, especially Black women, we learned to wear survival like it was couture. We learned to hold our breath until our lungs burned, bite our tongues until they bled, carry everyone else's burdens like they were designer handbags, and call it strength. We learned that silence was safer than speaking, that enduring was more honorable than healing, that breaking meant you were fundamentally broken. And I'm here today to tell you that is the most dangerous lie we've ever been sold. I recently sat down with Ernsie Fidelia, a mental wellness visionary whose work is quietly dismantling the very foundations of how we think about healing, trauma, and the audacity it takes to choose yourself. Ernsie isn't out here talking about self care like it's a trend or a Sunday afternoon bubble bath with a glass of wine. She's talking about the kind of healing that demands you look directly at the parts of yourself you've been taught to hide, the wounds you've been told to ignore, and the silence you've been conditioned to keep. Her insights reminded me why I started the Soft Girl Era podcast in the first place, because too many of us have spent our entire lives being strong for everyone else. And we forgot that softness, rest, and healing are not luxuries reserved for other people. They're necessities, they're survival tools. They're the oxygen mask we've been told to pass to everyone else first while we suffocate in silence. So today I want to share what Ernsie and I talked about. I want to share the stories that are quietly changing lives, the movements that are rewriting the narrative, and the truth that nobody wanted to say out loud until now. And I want to give you permission right here, right now, to stop carrying what was never yours to carry in the first place. Let's start here. Silence is not strength. I know we've been told otherwise our entire lives. I know you've heard it in church pews, at family dinners where the truth sat heavy in the air, but nobody dared name it, in boardrooms where your voice was dismissed before you even opened your mouth, and maybe even in your own head. That relentless voice that says, just keep it together, just push through, just smile and nod and survive. But here's the truth that Ernsie helped me see even more clearly during our conversation. When you silence yourself to keep the peace, you're not being strong. You're disappearing. You're erasing yourself one quiet moment at a time. And the cost of that disappearance, it's your joy, your peace, your mental health, your sense of self, your life. Ernsie shared something during our interview that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. She said that so many of the people she works with, especially Black women and men, come to her carrying generations of pain, not just their own trauma, but their parents' trauma, their grandparents' trauma, the trauma of entire communities who were never given permission to grieve, to rest, to heal. And because of that, they learned to survive instead of live. They learn to endure instead of feel. They learn to be silent instead of free. They learn that their pain didn't matter as much as everyone else's comfort. And that silence, it's killing us slowly, quietly, efficiently. There's a young man named Burgos, a Black Houstonian who spent years battling depression in complete silence. He believed, like so many of us do, that asking for help was weakness, that therapy was for other people, people who didn't have faith, people who couldn't handle life, that faith and mental health couldn't possibly coexist in the same body, the same heart, the same story. His family's religious background reinforced the idea that pain should be endured quietly, that you just pray harder, fast longer, push through with more discipline. But Burgos was drowning. He was sinking beneath the weight of expectations, shame, and the crushing belief that his pain made him less than. And it wasn't until he found a group therapy space, a space where he could name his emotions without shame, without judgment, without someone telling him to just have more faith, that he realized something life changing. Vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was the doorway to healing. It was the key he'd been searching for his entire life. Burgo started replacing harmful coping mechanisms with healthier ones. He started talking. He started creating art. He started letting his life breathe again. He started showing up as his full self, not the edited, acceptable, palatable version everyone else wanted. And you know what happened? Other young Black adults in his community saw him and thought, if he can do it, maybe I can too. His openness became a lifeline. His courage to break the silence gave others permission to do the same. He became proof that healing is possible, that you can survive the breaking and still become whole. That's what happens when we stop shrinking, when we stop performing strength and start practicing honesty. We don't just heal ourselves, we heal the people watching us. We become proof that is possible. We become permission. We become hope. Now, let me be clear. Choosing healing is not easy. It's not a one time decision you make on a Tuesday and then coast through life on autopilot. It's a daily practice. It's waking up and deciding again that you matter, that your peace matters, that your story matters. Even when the world tells you to be quiet, even when your family tells you to be grateful for the crumbs you've been given, even when your own mind tells you that you're too much or not enough or somehow fundamentally unworthy of rest. Ernsie talked about the work being done at the Black Mental Wellness Conference, an annual gathering led by Dr. Jessica S. Henry and a powerhouse team of Black mental health professionals. This conference isn't just another event on someone's calendar. It's a sanctuary, it's a refuge. It's a space where Black women and men, many of them high achievers, many of them exhausted from carrying everyone else's dreams and disappointments, come to reclaim their power. They come carrying generational trauma, professional burnout, and the suffocating weight of cultural expectations that say you're supposed to be strong no matter what, no matter the cost, no matter how much of yourself you lose in the process. But at this conference, they're met with something radically different: trauma informed workshops that honor their pain, culturally responsive therapy that sees them, really sees them, peer support panels where they can cry without judgment, rest without explanation, and say, I'm not okay, and be met with, that's okay, we're here, you're safe. And the outcomes? They're nothing short of transformational. People leave recharged, connected, equipped with tools to not just survive, but to thrive. They leave with a renewed sense of purpose. They leave knowing that healing is not selfish, it's sacred. It's the most important work they'll ever do. Dr. Henry founded this conference after witnessing firsthand the devastating lack of safe, affirming spaces for Black professionals to process trauma and pursue healing. Her own journey of choosing healing over silence inspired the mission. And over 6 years, this conference has grown to serve thousands, sparking new programs, research, and partnerships focused on Black mental health. It's become a national model, a movement, a revolution disguised as a conference, a reminder that when we create space for healing, we create space for transformation. We create space for life. But here's the thing: you don't have to wait for a conference. You don't have to wait for permission from anyone, not your family, not your friends, not your faith community, not even yourself. You can start today, right now, by breaking one silence, by setting one boundary, by choosing yourself in one small, brave, terrifying, beautiful way. There's an organization called Black Men Heal that's doing something revolutionary. They're offering free therapy sessions with clinicians of color, removing the cultural and financial barriers that have kept so many Black men from accessing mental health support for generations. They're going into barbershops, those trusted community spaces where men have always gathered to talk, to laugh, to connect. And they're starting conversations about vulnerability, masculinity, and mental wellness. They're training barbers to be mental health advocates. They're building networks of support. They're redefining what healing looks like for Black men. They're challenging the narrative that silence equals strength, that pain is the price of manhood, that asking for help makes you less than. And it's working. Hundreds of Black men have accessed therapy. They've learned emotional honesty. They've begun to heal from generational trauma. They've started to believe that they deserve softness too. They've started to understand that vulnerability is not failure, it's freedom. This is what happens when we stop accepting the lie that we have to suffer to be worthy. When we stop believing that pain is the price of love. When we stop shrinking to make others comfortable. When we stop performing strength and start practicing wholeness. Ernsie reminded me during our conversation that broken does not mean over. I want you to hear that again. Broken does not mean over. The journey through heartbreak, abandonment, and silence does not define your worth. Choosing healing, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's unfamiliar, even when it feels like you're betraying everyone who taught you to suffer in silence, is not weakness, it's wisdom. You can rebuild from anything. Every scar is a testament to your resilience and your capacity to rise. Every wound you've survived is proof that you are stronger than you've ever been told. I know some of you listening right now are tired. You're tired of being the strong one. You're tired of holding it together. You're tired of pretending you're okay when you're not. You're tired of being the glue that holds everyone else together while you fall apart in private. And I want you to know that's okay. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to let go of the cake. You're allowed to say, I can't do this anymore and not feel guilty about it. Your soft girl era is not about becoming weak. It's about becoming whole. It's about releasing the roles, the masks, the responsibilities that were never yours to carry. It's about redefining strength on your own terms. It's about embracing softness as a radical act of self love. It's about understanding that rest is resistance, that peace is power, that choosing yourself is the most revolutionary thing you'll ever do. And here's the most powerful part: your story matters. Every chapter you survive, every truth you speak, every boundary you set, it's not just for you, it's for the next woman who needs to know she's not alone. It's for the next man who needs to know vulnerability is not failure. It's for the next generation who needs to see that healing is possible, that you can break the cycle, that you can choose differently. When you choose yourself, you shift your world. You become proof, you become permission, you become a lifeline, you become the answer to someone else's prayer. So here's what I need you to do: not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, because let's be honest, you'll never feel ready. I need you to do this today, right now. Break one silence, just one. Whether it's speaking your truth to someone who's been silencing you for years, whether it's setting a boundary with someone who's been draining you dry, whether it's reaching out for support when you've been suffering alone, whether it's simply admitting to yourself out loud, I'm not okay, and that's okay. You do not have to shrink to be loved. You do not have to suffer to be chosen. Your story is powerful. Let it breathe. Let it live. Let it save someone else the way you wish someone had saved you. Ernsie's work, the work of Dr. Henry, the courage of people like Burgos, the mission of Black Men Heal, it all points to the same truth. Healing is not a destination, it's a practice, it's a choice, and it's available to you right now, exactly as you are: messy, tired, broken, whole. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are not too much or not enough. You are worthy of healing. You are worthy of softness. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of a life that doesn't require you to disappear to survive. So I'm asking you today, what silence are you ready to break? What cape are you ready to drop? What version of yourself are you ready to stop performing? Because the world doesn't need another strong Black woman who's dying inside. The world needs you, whole, healed, and free. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for someone to choose you first. Choose yourself, choose healing, choose life. Because your story is not over, it's just beginning. And the world is waiting for the version of you that chose to live instead of just survive.